Motorola XM-501, XM-701. I've been doing a lot of black and white monitor work recently, and this is the chassis that was in my monitor that was sitting over here, my black and white, and I had removed this and set it aside and was using the tube to test some black and white chassis that I was working on, right? Well, I put this thing back together and went to fire it up, and the capacitor blew up. This is the multi-cap, and this is a cap right here for the, see, this is a kind of a rare bird. This XM501 has the audio amplifier stuff on it. It's really crowded underneath, as opposed to this guy who has all this free space underneath. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually repair this one and set this one aside. I already had to repair this high voltage unit. It was broken. It had wires broke off of it and everything, and I had to dig into the flyback. It's just wax. So I had to dig into that and expose the wires that were broken, solder wire onto them, you know, reseal it, and then run the wires down through there and solder them in. And I did test it, and it now works. And then I've got it strapped down so it won't just dangle around. I'm going to have to take this little housing here and put onto this one. And I guess I'll cap this. I could just take this video board and put it on here, because this one I know works. But I think I'll just keep this complete here. 4197, 4197. This is a matching set. This is serial 4197. And this is also serial 4197. So I'll just keep this one together. Yeah, but yeah, this one doesn't have that. Yeah, it doesn't have that 5 volt stuff. That's all this is it's 5 volt, a 5 volt circuit to run this stuff right here. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot less going on in this one here. If you look underneath this one, and then look underneath this one, like so. Yeah, see, this one's got a lot more going on, a lot more space to mess with. So in the interests of that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repair this one. Why not? I've already done some work, like I said, on the flyback here. I already did that work, hooking the flyback up. So we'll go ahead, replace this capacitor, and replace the can cap, rework this board, and I want to turn this into a 501. And it's just a couple resistor values that you have to replace, and that's in the manual. So I'll look that up, replace the resistors to turn this into a 501, a 19-inch rather than a 23-inch. Yeah, this is a 19-inch right here. This one's actually out of a 23-inch. So it's just a couple resistors. So we'll go ahead, do that. And I figured while I'm doing that, to get my black and white monitor back up and running, I'll go ahead and film it. So yeah, why not, right? It looks like I'm missing, oh, that sucks, missing the tops to these fuses, so I'll have to just grab them out of here and put into there. That sucks. Yeah, so I'll have to replace them for this, because I will. This is very repairable. This cap blew up. It's this gray one. That is the B plus part of the cap, I think, and it also sends voltage over to here for the orange lugs. Yeah, it drops the orange lugs down to 30 volts. That's right. So that's the 30 volt supply and the B plus supply. Blew up, snapped, crackled, and popped. So Yep, and when I do this one, I said do. When I do this one, I will, I'll replace this cap too. I'm leaving the caps in there, but I'll run wires. I'll probably use this real estate right here to mount my capacitors. And then just run wires over, you know, to where they need to go. So that'll be fun. That'll be something to do. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead with this guy. Put this one up somewhere safely. And rebuild this guy. Alright, I went ahead and swapped this over to this chassis. And this one matches serials too. This is 5065. And it is over here. 5065. Same chassis number. Yeah. Wells Gardner needs flyback. No, it does not need a flyback. It's got a flyback. This thing, the flyback was dangling and hanging by one wire on there. It still had one attached. And the other three were broken off at the base of the transformer. I just took a hot soldering iron, and it kind of destroyed my soldering iron tip. So you have to be able to just sacrifice a tip. I actually threw the tip away that I used. And you dig into there, you dig into the wax and find the wire. You got to expose it, scrape away, because it's Kynar wire. You know, you got to scrape away some of the insulation on it, and solder a good solder joint to it with a little wire, and put some shrink over it, and then seal it back up. I used a silicone sealer to seal it back up, and yeah, got it going. Then I did plug it in and tested it, and it does work. This cap has to go though. I'm not messing around with them. They just decide to blow up like that one did. It'd been good for as long as I'd had that monitor. It'd been good. I put it back together, plugged it in, and the thing blew up on me. So just the way it is. So we will go ahead and disconnect this guy, get into recapping this thing. Do not flip this over with this in. You'll break that diode. So take the diode out and just kind of lay it like so. And I removed, I don't think this thing's ever been off of here. I removed the little clips, the zip ties that were in here. All 4 zip ties were still in there. So I'm going to remove this, get it out of the way. This thing will recap this, clean it up a little bit maybe. Check it out. Put a new cap in. I'm going to pull both of the transistors, all 3 of them. I'm going to pull them all, test them all, and then put new insulators down with some grease, or clean it up and make sure they get a good heat transfer. And yeah, let me go ahead and get all set up. Maybe I'll give you an overhead view of what I'm doing and go from there. Okay, so monitor. Oh, let's see what we're looking at. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's do that, because that's our, and let's zoom you in a slight bit. Right? Okay. Here's where we're going to be waking. Right here. Yeah, that's not even hooked up. Let me plug in my soldering iron, as they say around the world. my soldering iron. Okay. Oh. Had my current limiting on, so my soldering iron wouldn't heat up. Okay, boom. The grays. You know what I need to do? I need to write a note to myself. I'm going to be in the way here a second, okay? We have the gray looks like it's square. Right? We have the red is half moon. Okay. Our orange wire is triangle. That would mean that our brown wire is nothing. Our brown wire is no symbol. Okay. There you go. That gives you a pretty good view of it, don't it? How about that? How about that? Mel Allen, anyone? How about that? All right. Okay. Let's see. You know what I need to try to do is I need to try to get a better angle for myself here. So I'm going to do this. How's that? There you guys go. How you like that? Okay. Let me turn my soldering iron back on. I'm gonna start saying soldering from now on, because it just sounds so sophisticated. Okay. Come on. And you. And you. Come on now. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and separate these from this. Okay. And I'm going to put, you know what I need to do is try to break these right off. Let me see. Boy, those are pretty weak. There we go. Focus, focus, focus. Hocus focus. Focus pocus. I need to take that over to the air compressor and blow that all out of there. I'm going to do that really quick. Be back. Okay, I'm back. And you can hear in the background I had to turn the air compressor on. I got this all cleaned up. And we are looking good. So I'm going to put, I'll replace this guy too. I'm going to put one right here, and then I'll probably put one right here. Which you did not see anything that I just said. I said I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to put one here. So let's do it. And I may have to use this I may have to use these two terminals to solder this to, and then run wires from this over. You know, because this goes between the orange and the gray wires. Basically the gray wires are the B plus, and then it goes through this resistor over to the orange wires, and that's the 30 volt supply. So I think that's what I'll do, is I'll put this guy right here. That's some good terminals that I can use right there. And then I'm going to put my terminals right here. So what I need to do is just get some sandpaper and sand some spots where I'm going to solder my my lead thing, my terminal strips. So let me get that going and I'll be back. Alright, sandpaper. So I'm going to get in right. How do I want these? Going this way? I'll solder the caps laying that way. So I'm going to put this right about here. So you just got to clean an area off good where you're going to solder. Just like that. And then these other caps will lay that way as well. So I'm going to put one right here. Just get you a nice clean spot. Yeah, there we go. Right, now we got some cleaned up spots. Now I get my big soldering gun. Well, that's going to be exhausting remembering to say solder, but here it is, my soldering gun. You know what I might try? I watch Mr. Carlson's lab a lot, and he had a mod to where he just used a wire, copper wire, and I do have some copper wire. I think I am going to run just a piece of copper wire and see how that works for soldering. Let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, now this is 10 gauge solid copper wire that you use for a tip, and this is from Mr. Carlson's lab. This is his thing, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Man, I need thicker solder. You know, this little itty bitty fine circuit board solder is not good for this, but let's try this out and see how it goes. Yeah, I like it. All right. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to put a little flux there. Need to flux it up. I'm going to go right here with it. Dang it, I hate this little solder. Boy, that is where it's at. Look at that, pull that up. Unfortunately, I gotta keep getting off of it because this solder is just not enough. Look at how that pulled up. Look at how that pulled up. That works magnificently. Wow, that's great. Okay, I'm going to grab a terminal strip. Okay, I've got my terminal strip. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of flux on my terminal strip, like so. And hold this thing. Do not hold the center tap, you know, that's where the heat's at. And I'm going to try to get this sunk into this. Can't really tell what's going on. I can't. Does that look good? I'm going to block the view here for a second. Okay, and as you can see, I sprayed it with a little alcohol, cleaned it, and we are nicely soldered to ground. Yeah, that really does a good job with that just wire tip. Really gets it good and hot. So that's our ground lug, and then we have a positive for capacitor here and positive for capacitor here on both of them. That's 4 caps. So yeah, we just got to run our wires over to where they go. So let's do that. And I'm going to replace this guy too. So let me get a little cap kit together. I know this is like a 33 at 160 or something like that. We need a 470 at 160, a 680 at 100, a 20 at 250, and a 220 at 50. So I'll go ahead and grab all those caps. And here is the chassis cap kit. We have our 470 at 160, our 680 at 100, 33 at 250, I believe, 220 at 50, and 22 at 250. So I will go ahead off camera and solder these caps in, and then I'll come back when they're done and show you how I went about doing it and where I mounted everything. Alright, first step is done. I've got all the wiring connected. I have the red going to right here. You can see the red is soldered there. The brown is soldered here. So this is 680 microfarad and 220 at 50 volts. Yeah, that's right. And then we come up here. No, the brown is 22 at 250. That's a high voltage one. And then over here we have the gray is our B plus. That's the 680. This is the 470. The red is the 470. This one is the 680 right here. The gray. That's the 2 grays going to the 680, and then I've got the resistor going between these. And this is the 220 at 50 volt right here, the orange. That's the 30 volt supply. So it's all wired up now. All I got to do is kind of just hang and solder the solder the capacitors in. So I'll go ahead and do that and then come back and show you what that looks like. And there you go, recapped. We have our 680 at 100 with the 2 grays. And our low voltage 50 volt 220 here at the orange with the cap or the resistor between them. And then here we have our line filter, basically the 470 at 160 on the red wire. And then we have our 22 at 250 cap right here. And all of the grounds are in the center tap. All of the grounds are towards the center tap on both of the clusters. and I replaced this guy. And what I did was I used this unused lug here, and then just ran a wire over to where it goes. Instead of having it all the way to there, I just went here and then jumped it. So that's it. And we have our old cap in for looks. And I accidentally clipped this resistor out, so I had to replace it. So the capping's done. Now I got to get a solution to my fuses, and what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to mount 2 fuse holders right here and run the wires up to them. If I have to use my drill press to drill a mounting hole, I will. And then just put a 2-position fuse holder right here. And like I said, let's run the wires up through a hole or something like that. And then use that. I don't have a solution for those fuse things. And my the other ones are not the same thing. So I don't want to rob anything anyway, because then you're just having to fix that later on. So I'm gonna take care of it with this one and just put a couple fuses on here. So that'll take care of that. Alright, cool. We're capped. I need to cap that, clean it up, do the fuses, check the transistors, and this will be good to go. Let's call this part 1 of this, and part 2 will be all this stuff I just mentioned that needs to be done yet. Yeah, it's been a pretty good part 1 video, so we'll split this one into 2. Alright, so stay tuned. Part 2 will be coming right behind this.